look at simulating a test bench in ModelSim. So I've got a couple folders here, and now I'm using Linux, but the principle is exactly the same in Windows. And in my source folder I've got my component comp1.vhd, and in my test folder I've got my test bench. So there are a couple approaches I want to show you. The first one is to do sort of everything from first principles. So I'm going to start ModelSim, which on Linux would be just typing vsim in a terminal. On Windows you probably double click an icon. And the first thing I want to do is change directory. So my files are in here, part 1. They are the two subfolders. Okay, and we see that the command has been issued, and that it uses Unix commands to change directory, cd. Alright, and I can list and see my folders. So nothing's changed here. This is the library view, because we haven't got a library yet, so that's the next job. Again, being pedantic and doing it all manually, I'll go new library, leave everything as the default, so a new library with the logical mapping. We're not trying to pick up an existing one, and click OK. And again we see the associated commands should you wish to do that from the command line. Okay, so now we've got this work library, which is what it was called, and it's empty. Now what is a library? Well, basically it's a folder or a location where compiler output is stored. Now I'm going to now compile my VHDL files. So I click compile. I go and I'll do my component first, because if I try and do the test bench first, it'll try and make reference to the component, and it doesn't exist yet. So let's compile the component, then we'll do the test bench, and click done. Now when I look in my work library, I see a component. It's got one architecture, and my test bench. So now I can edit, right click, edit, and I could make some changes. Okay, so for example, let's say I wanted to remove these initializations. These are only for simulation anyway. So let's be pedantic and take those away. Save, and then we can recompile, and you see how fast that is. Okay, now everything's compiled, we're ready to go. Now if you remember from the blog, if you're following the blog, that I've instantiated this component, this comp1 component, and I've connected its inputs to these signals here. These are internal signals to the test bench. Okay, and they're assigned, but I don't do anything with the output. Well, the output, as you'll see in a minute, will be visible. These signals will be accessible from ModelSim, and we can use those to plot. So let's do that. Let's first of all double click in the library view the test bench, select the signals you want to view, right click and go add wave. Here we are. Now we've got a few options. We could run for 100 picoseconds, we could single step through our code, which is a great feature in ModelSim. I just want to run to the end, so I'm going to click run all. Note that the signals are uninitialized at start, so that's interesting. Run all, and we should see the final state 111 and the output being 1. And if we zoom out with the minus key, sure enough, there's the simulation output. Okay, and when we finished, we just click simulate, end simulation.